For the last 20 years, one question I've been asked all the time is, if you could have only one camera and one lens, what would that combination be? That's quite a difficult question until now. I do think I'm very close to having an answer of what that one camera and one lens combo would be, and the best part is it's just one camera with the lens. Yes, this is the Leica Q3. I've had the Q1, the Q2, and now the Q3. So what's really better in this? Obviously, there is a better, or should I just say, higher megapixel sensor, 60 meg. But what I really love, and this was on my wish list from the Q1 itself, was the articulating screen. And why is that so important? I'll get to that. Because I primarily shoot street with this or events, and the tilt screen really is helpful when I do that. I guess around 2015 I had the Q1, and then 2-3 years back I had the Q2, and then now I have the Q3. Now, my wish list right from Q1 was this, the tilt screen, and there was a very specific need. I don't shoot street at eye level. I get very conscious, and obviously subjects get very conscious when I'm shooting at eye level, and I'm a little, I get a little anxious shooting street and events at eye level when I get close. So I love this. I've always wanted something to look at waist level and then shoot. And what really helps in the Q series right from Q1 is the touch, focus and shoot. So you just touch it, it focuses and shoots, so your subjects don't even probably know that you're shooting. So this was on my wish list for a long time, and that is finally here. Now, the fact that it juts out a little bit is slightly irritating. It's not flush, but that's okay. I can live with it. So that was one big, I don't want to call it upgrade, because cameras have had it forever. Mirrorless cameras have had it forever, and Leica ultimately got it. So that's great, but it's fantastic in the new Q3. Now, the 60 meg sensor is welcome. Not that the previous one didn't have enough megapixels, but 60 is welcome. You can crop a little more if you want, especially when you're doing events in streets. If your composition is not spot on, you're kind of running and gunning, it's brilliant to crop a little more. So that's a welcome add. I don't mind it at all. So that's number 2. So let's talk about probably the biggest upgrade, if you can call it that, the focusing on the Q3. They got in face focus, PHASE face focus, and now combined with the face focus, it really does a brilliant job. There are a lot of people who don't agree. I don't know how they're using it, what settings they're onto, and I've had a lot of debates online about this, but for me, it's worked like a charm. Now, I think the main point of detractors is that it doesn't work like a Sony. But hey, this is not a Sony. You buy a Q for a certain purpose, and if you really want to stick with Sony, so be it. Yes, Sony is the market leader in kind of focus speed and stickiness. They are far ahead. I would be the first one to acknowledge that. But this is no slouch. It kind of detects actually both the eyes. There are like rectangles or squares around both the eyes, so you know it's kind of caught on, and it's fairly sticky. It doesn't let go. And if it cannot detect the eye, if the subject is far, it detects at least the face, and if it does not detect the face, it detects the body. So it's really nice, and there is a logic to how it catches on to people when it's on continuous mode and detect mode, or even on single shot mode and detect mode. It basically typically chooses the subject closest. Unless you touch and command it to focus on someone else, then it latches on to that person and sticks on. So that is really helpful, and added to the touch, focus and shoot feature, I think this is now brilliant. I've got plenty of shots. Do I miss some? I do. Let's say about a 10 to 15, maybe 20% miss rate, but then the Fuji X100VI, that's like terrible. That's like a 50% miss rate. So I really love the focus of this camera. Let's get to the part where I said if I had to live with one camera and one lens all my life, that would be the Q3. Why? Because I think, number one, it has an absolutely gorgeous lens, sharp at 1.7, brilliant bokeh, hardly any distortions, hardly any fringing. So it's absolutely stunning. The second reason is this camera can pretty much shoot anything. I mean, right from portraits. Now you would think a 28mm portrait, what's this guy talking about? But if you're shooting environmental portraits or even waist level or bust level portraits, I think it does a fabulous job. And plus, remember one thing which hardly anybody talks about, that the lens has a leaf shutter, which means with strobes it can sync at 1/2000. Now that is not something you get even in top-end mirrorless cameras. So the fact that it combines, that it syncs at 1/2000 means you don't have to go to high-speed sync, which means even in broad daylight you can use your strobes and they'll be powerful enough to overpower the sun. So that's such a brilliant feature, and I have used this in the past and I find it extremely useful and creative. That's reason number two. And then, if you want to shoot landscapes, if you want to do travel photography, you want to do street photography, you want to do weddings where you want to shoot documentary style, any of that, this just aces it. It's just pretty much an all-purpose camera as long as you know how not to misuse it. I think that's the whole point. If you get too close and try to take a portrait, obviously there'll be distortions and you don't want that, perspective distortions, and that's really why you might not want to use it. But if you really are left with only this camera, there is no reason why you cannot use this for pretty much anything. And oh, before I forget, it has a macro mode. What else do you need? I mean, it just has got the works. So, you can just shoot pretty much anything with this camera. So apart from all this, I love the minimalistic button design. I mean, there's hardly anything at the back, and everything is touch. And the menu itself is like so good. I mean, minimal, just about 4 or 5 pages, and you can scan through everything in a jiffy. Everything is fairly intuitive. So are there any negatives? Frankly, not that I can think of, except for the fact that you could say focus could be better. Yes, I agree, but I think it's a far cry from the Q1 and even the Q2. So I really like that. So that's probably the only thing which potentially could be an upgrade in the next iteration. Apart from that, frankly, I really don't see anything that I would have as a wish list for the next iteration of the Q3. Now let's talk for a bit about this camera compared to the Fuji X100VI, which is a rage right now. Now, it all depends on your usage. If you're a professional photographer and need professional grade results, quality, and responsive camera, then I think this is the camera for you. But if you want good quality, at the same time you want it to be very, very pocketable and manageable in terms of size and some more video features, I think the X100VI is the way to go. I think focus-wise, this camera is much better than the X100VI. The X100VI really struggles, nailing focus and sticking on to the person it has nailed focus on. It keeps jumping around, it's random, and I've had almost a 40 to 50% miss rate on that camera. So that has been my biggest gripe with the Fuji. Otherwise, both of them have different color signs, but Fuji holds its own in what it does. This one has a brilliant color science that I would love to shoot with. So I think I would trust this camera more in a commercial gig. But if I were traveling and I needed something really small in size, shoot with one hand, carry everywhere, I think I would go with the Fuji X100VI. So that's what I think about the Leica Q3 and comparing it to the Fuji X100VI. Let me know what you guys think, and I know this is a fairly hot and debatable topic, so leave your comments, follow the channel, and let me know what you think. Thank you.